Welcome, everybody. Welcome back. We are here to Broker Talk. Believe it or not, this is episode 8. We are running it up. As you see here live in the studio, we have a small group. These are individuals through technical difficulties found their way to today's event, to today's session, and super excited. And more people are coming in and catching up, but we're not going to let that stop us because we can't, right? When you have individuals like Billionaire Pete in the room, you got to keep the show going because he's focused on one thing and one thing only, and that is making and building relationships with brokers. And that's what everybody should be focused on, right? And so I want to say shout out to everyone that is joining from YouTube and Facebook and all these other places. But when you are live here on the Zoom, you get to participate in being able to make the phone calls and get feedbacks. And that's exactly what we're going to do today. We're going to deep dive with the group that we have here, and we're going to talk about how their calls went, what they're doing. We got some calls that got sent in to us, and we're all going to get on the phone, right? And we're going to make these things happen. So, but before we do, I want to first bring up the host of the show, the man, the myth, the legend himself. His name has changed maybe 3 or 4 times at this point, but around these parts, he's called Billionaire MF. Peter, how you going, bro?
I'm doing fine, but the host and the legend here is the one and only Eddy Charger, not me.
Listen. So, listen, I'll be honest, guys, and everybody else that's watching. I pay a pretty good penny to have these guys say that, and I'd like to be upfront about that, right?
Yeah,
but
right.
You know, these guys are a top tier, put together, take together all their skill set, they put it together, and they are delivering it to the group. So we have amazing individuals: Julian, Armand, Jen, the closer, Daryl, of course, who tune in and who are consistent, right? And it's one of the amazing things. And I had somebody hit me up the other day and it was like, so all of you guys work for the same company? It was like, no, it was like, I don't understand. So how you had like 90 something people on your last Zoom? How does it all work? I was like, well, it's an ecosystem, right? It's a community, right? And that's what we're about. It's what we do. And why we do it is simple. It's because for far too long, information was being held at the top tier, right? And unless you were somebody's great nephew or somehow had a communication through some shape or form, you could not get the information. It just was not going to be supplied for you or to you. And there was plenty of things that, we could have definitely got started in, benefited our families and et cetera. And it wasn't being done. It wasn't being changed that way. And so what these guys decided to do and gladly, wanted me to come on board to be able to help with this and providing, being a go-giver that I am myself, is the ecosystem that we have created today that you guys see. And so I'm going to share with you guys what that actually looks like right here. So if you see my screen, you're looking at the ecosystem. Where last night on Sunday nights at 8:30, we have the activation Zoom, and that is a Zoom that is focused on getting people to the place they need to be to go attack the week. All right, like let's be honest, everybody who works a job suffers through some sort of the mental just beat down, right? Like every Sunday night. Because, no matter how great your weekend was, come Sunday night, you got to get ready, or at least mentally get ready to go back to work on Monday. It is said that the most heart attacks happens between Sunday and Monday morning. And I don't know if that medically has anything to do with going back to work, but what a coincidence, right? And so on Sunday nights, what we do is we do the activation Zoom. You see it there live. That's every Sunday at 8:30. And then today we have the broker Zoom. That is done on purpose. It's right after the activation Zoom because it's the first step, especially now. We're going to talk about that today on today's call, this special call that we have going on today. It's the first step because it's the most important step. And if you're going to do broker outreach or you're talking to, mom and pops, it doesn't really matter. If you miss the things that we talk about and train on and exhibit as examples, you're missing the whole entire enchilada, right? Like you're not going to be successful in this industry. It's just not going to happen. And then tomorrow at 8 p.m., you see myself and Mr. Ed is bringing in the heat. We do napkin underwriting. Please use your napkin. Essentially, you get the deal from today, and tomorrow you underwrite it. You learn how to underwrite it, what it takes, and all that process. And then every other week, we have Jerry and his wife come through and talk about the financing. Okay, now that you found the deal, you got hype on Sunday, you found the deal on Monday, you underwrote it on Tuesday, you got the details. Now you need to know exactly where's this money going to come from, right? The closer you get towards the end of the week, the more of a reality this thing starts to become. And, I think eventually we'll get to the point where we'll have like a 7-day system. What do you think, Peter, right? Like you start on Sunday and by the time you get to like Friday, Saturday, you got a multifamily deal on the contract and you're ready to go, right? We'll have a private money Zoom maybe on like a Thursday or something, right? Then on Friday is closing day. What do you need to close? So I don't know. But definitely, we are not about to hoard the information. We want to be able to give it and share it. And of course, we're doing this free. Now, why do we do it free? It's because we want to create a safe environment where people can be able to come together and build teams, right? And so, for example, Daryl and Chris might end up buying a couple properties together. They might end up on the same team. Right? How awesome and amazing would that be, right? It might be my girl Shay. She might come in and connect with Paula and Natasha, and now they're putting together and buying a couple of multifamily units together. Why not? And you don't have this environment in other places, and that's why we do it. So shout out to everybody that is here. Welcome. Thank you for coming on. If you know someone who would love to be here out of all days, please share it, so that we could be able to have more people come on and know what's going on. So my girl Chase said, how do we get connected? How do we register for the other events that are taking place on Tuesdays and Wednesdays? Well, you can go to Multifamily Freedom Chasers on the Facebook page, and that will be able to get you everything that you need as far as where to go. You can also follow us on social media. So I'll put my social media tags and everything in here as well, so that you guys can be able to jump in on anything that we're doing. I'm always going to blast it out. So that's a good thing. But once you become part in the ecosystem, basically, you register for one of the events, we'll have your email and I would make sure your phone number is in there too. And we'll send you the message. So that way you don't forget, and et cetera, et cetera. All right. So here's my contact information. I want to jump right in it since we kind of had to do a lot in the beginning here. So I want to jump into this. First things first, please make sure you do what needs to be done in your name. My girl Jen has it down pat. I love that. You see, Victor came in ready to kill it. He got his name and I need to change mine. So I'm going to do the same thing right here. So you go through, change your name, and you want to do it by your name. And then I put where I'm located, and then I put whichever way you want somebody to contact you, phone number, email, et cetera, et cetera. You want to make sure you put that so that if I got a deal, for example, and I know my guy Daryl's in Atlanta, I got his contact information right then and there. We're not missing a beat. In this side of the table, you do not want to move slow, right? You want to get straight to it. Now, the other thing is, you see what I just posted in the chat. You want to make sure you put all your information, okay? Email, if you have a website, what's your superpower? So you put your best way to contact you, whatever your superpower is. So for me, I'm a problem solver, I raise capital, and I'm a connector, right? And then I put what I'm looking for. I'm looking for multifamily, I'm looking for storages, I'm looking for short-term rentals, mid-term rentals, Section 8. Those are my perfect cash flow triangle that I am currently looking for, and probably for a very long time. All right, so that's how we doing it. That's how we getting down. My guy, Peter, do you have anything that you want to be able to say to the good people before we start to deep dive into this is going to be our first call that we get to do this with, right?
First call we get to
to listen to the call live and play it back and give some feedback.
There you go. Yep. No, so that's great. Let's get into that. Just, again, just want to reiterate the ecosystem, guys. If you're not following the Multifamily Freedom Chasers on Facebook, please do that. Get connected on the YouTube channel. It's all out there on the Facebook group. You can find a link to that, and network with each other. Do what Eddy's telling you to do. Let us know where you are in your name, so people can see, hey, I live in Ohio, you live in Ohio. They can definitely reach out to you and grab your phone number, and however they want to connect with you. So, and get known, right? Raise your hand, participate. We really want you to come to these meetings and participate. I don't want you guys to come and listen to me. We've got recordings of that. You can go to the YouTube page. I'm gonna break out some of those calls so you can go straight to a call rather than trying to weed through an hour and a half or 2 hours of a recording. So there'll be plenty of examples of me making phone calls. What we want is examples of you guys making phone calls. We see it happen time and time again when people step up and make those calls. We can see the confidence develop in that call. By the time they get off the phone, they're more confident than when they got on the call. And that's what this is all about. This whole thing started because we saw a huge need for helping people get over that resistance. So if you're resistant to picking up the phone, if you're here just to learn, but you're still not making phone calls, I'd love for you to raise your hand. We'd love to just bring you up on stage, just talk through that with you. We're not going to bite. We're not going to force you to make a phone call, or we're going to strongly encourage it. But that's why we're here, right? We're here to get you guys over that hurdle. Awesome. We got a hand raised. Anybody else, please step up, raise your hand, get known. The other thing, guys, we've said this a million times, right, Eddy? This is a team sport. You can't look, there's some unique individual out there with just amazing abilities, skill sets, and whatever, can do this all by themselves. That is so unusual. Plenty of us have put single family deals together all by ourselves. But even that, there had to be a buyer, right? You can't play entirely alone. You have to have other people involved somewhere. Multifamily, more than anything, is a team sport. Your team can be right here in this room. But if you never raise your hand, you never talk to anybody, nobody's going to know who you are. Nobody's going to know what your skill set is. So I encourage you to do that. Network, capture those phone numbers, reach out to people offline. And with that, I'll turn it back over to Eddy, and let's get Paula to unmute. And Paula,
let's do it. Hey, Paula.
Appreciate you stepping up. What's going on? Are you calling brokers?
Hello? Can you hear me?
Yeah. Yep, we can hear you. How are you?
I'm doing pretty good. Really, really busy trying to get into this and get the lockdown on it. I get into getting my list together to call brokers. I am real fresh into this, actually starting this. Now, I have been nitpicking in it for a lot over the years, getting my grounds about real estate. Multifamily is the biggest jump that I've done. To call brokers, investors, I find myself very intent on getting on that phone with them, just because of the questions that they may ask me, and for them to take me more serious, not sounding like such a rookie over the phone, and getting what and asking for when I need it.
Gotcha. Okay. Now, have you had any calls previously where you felt like you sounded like a rookie?
Yes, I have done some practice calls with potential family investors for something that I was interested in getting into, and a few other old employers. They were interested, but they really didn't jump on board. I never heard no much about it. And, you know, I have somebody that pushes me, Jimmy Morris. He's the one that really got me into this more and explained about multifamily, which he was under the Grant Cardone mentorship.
Mm-hmm.
And he's telling me how, you know, you have to keep talking to them, give them time, let them think about it, and then call them again and check up on them, see what they thought.
Right.
I still haven't done that.
Okay. So my question to you is, why haven't you done that?
I'm afraid to be that pushy person, in a way, because
Mm-hmm.
these are people that I've known for years.
Got you. Okay. So this is really good. And Paul, I really do appreciate you kind of bringing this up. First of all, it takes a lot of courage to kind of put yourself out here in front of people that you may or may not know and be like, hey, here's where I'm like sucking at, right? So I really appreciate you for doing that. Now, I want you to understand something too, because you're dealing with people that you somewhat have a relationship with, you've kind of added on 1,000 more pressure on yourself, right? Because in your mind, you are trying to make sure you show up the right way, even though you don't really have a definition of what that should be yet, right?
Right.
And so understand, part of what you're feeling right now is truly just based off of pressure that you're putting on yourself. The good news is we all do it, right? Everybody tries to make sure you present yourself way better than you actually are. But here's the secret that I was taught by a wealthy billionaire. He said, no matter where you are in life, you're never as good as you probably think you are. Right? The Grant Cardones of the world, the Pace Morbys, they're never as good as they actually think they are. The good news about that, you're really never as bad, Paula, as you think you are either. So even though you may not feel the full confidence of where you would want to be, I promise you're not as bad as you think you are. Right? Okay. But you have to do the follow-up. All right. Now, if it's a question of like, what do I say when I follow up? A lot of times we're just overcomplicating the situation, right? Like if you're calling back because you want to find out if they're ready to sell, that's exactly what you say. Hey, I'm just giving you guys a call. Just wanted to see if you guys are ready to sell now, right? It doesn't have to be like this, like real high-end thought process of a conversation. Right. And I think you probably just need to listen to more calls to see exactly what we're saying, like how comfortable it is. But I think you're doing the right things. Like, don't stop making the phone calls. What you also need to do is you need to shed the uneasiness of being new. And it's like going to the gym, right? How many people here have gone to the gym and used a machine that they've never used before? Right? Maybe you saw it on like Instagram or YouTube and it works out your butt or it works out your arms and you're like, hey, I'm gonna use this machine. Right? And then when you're in front of the machine, like you've watched this video several times, okay? But then when you're in front of the machine, for whatever reason, you're like, maybe this is a different machine than the one that was in the video, right? You're like, how do you, and that you're trying your best to not be that person that's at the gym pulling their phone out, trying to show, watching a video before you do every move. But then eventually you get to the point where that's what you end up having to do, right? And the first time you're using the machine, you're still kind of like, am I doing this right? Like, I don't know if I'm, is this how you're supposed to do it? Is it up and pull down or pull up, right? But it's not until you've, like you see in Greg talk about, practice. It's not until you go into the gym, you get on the machine again. It's not until you go off the machine and now you're on the treadmill and you see someone else on the machine doing the workout you were doing. It's not until you go back the next day, the next week, and you're getting a little bit more comfortable with the weight that you put on. And eventually, 4 months later, you're at the gym and some random person comes up to you and say, hey, how do you use this machine to work out the muscles you were using? I saw you doing it and I wanted to, could you show me how to do it? Has anybody had that experience where someone has walked up to you in the gym and said, could you show me how to do that? Isn't it crazy? That was the same machine just a few months ago. You were looking up on literally, like, listen, I'm pretty active and I have gone to YouTube and typed in, how do I X this machine? Like, how do I use this machine? Okay. So the only way to get around it, Paula, is by putting in the work. Right. And this is why things like this is really good, because you can do the work here live. And if you get stuck or you make a mistake, we can jump in and help you. Right. We've done it before. We continue to do that in how we do our calls, where we can just jump on. It's like, hey, how you doing? I'm Eddie. I'm Paula's partner. We're doing this deal together. I had a couple of questions. I know she was trying to ask
I'm
you.
say that ends closer.
Is that okay?
Be pulled out.
Right?
It's wrapped around these fucking big wires.
Super easy, and it's something that we can do to be able to help you. Does that make sense? Does that help?
That helps a lot. Thank you.
Awesome. Good. I'm glad you're here. Definitely want you to stick around and also connect with the people that's in here. There's some amazing good people. I just saw Olga just jumped in here. She's phenomenal on the phones as well.
Yes, I've seen her in a lot of Zooms.
Oh yeah,
I've heard her talk. She's a brilliant woman.
Oh, she's top shelf. I'm just waiting for her to, come up here and take my job. Literally, like she's legit. But there's tons of people on here. Linda's on here. I mentioned Jen before. Like, these are people who, they're not better than you. They put in more practice than you. Right? Don't think it's one of those things, right? Like, everyone here is amazing, right? There's this one guy he's okay. I wouldn't even say he's that good, right? He's somewhat good. I don't know if you guys know him. His name is Marcel. Does anybody know him?
Oh, Marcel, yes. We know about Marcel.
He's all right. You know what I mean? He's okay. Let me see if I can get him to jump on real quick and say what's up to the people. What's up, bro?
What's up, freedom chasers? How you doing out there? Man, Eddie is
when
charged.
When we were pulling the other wire and it got sucked in.
Doing amazing, man. Doing amazing, brother. We are just here rocking it with Paula really quick, helping her with some things as we are making some phone calls in the background and getting ready to push forward. We're actually about to talk about the mindset, especially in this new market. Well, not new market, in this market that is continually evolving. And so that's what we want to talk about. But I saw you come in, I saw you do the thing with your hair. And I was like, oh, let me grab him really quick and see if you want to say a couple of things.
I had to just come on for a second because I'm always so strapped of time, doing the 9 to 5 as most of you are. So I want to tell you guys how amazing it is that you guys make the time to come on here, right? It's not easy. We all know it. But that's the time when the brokers are in the commercial real estate space, right? And I had a few minutes here and I saw it on YouTube. And I was like, let me hop in there in the Zoom and get it done live, because all your people on YouTube right now or on Facebook, you're missing the live interaction right here, right now with this freaking stud and billionaire Pete, right?
Yeah.
Let's crush it, guys. Good stuff.
Awesome. Thanks, man. Thanks. And I saw we had another question. Wait, Paul, are you good? Okay, she's good. I saw we had another question, but I think I missed the hand that was being off. Oh, Jen, thank you so much. Jen said, Zoom is the best. I feel more connected. Yeah, that's what we want to do, right? We want to make sure the connection is there. There it is, Rennie. I remember the face. We want to make sure the connection is there because it's important, right? And I say this almost like every week, and I will continue to beat this drum. Being an entrepreneur is extremely lonely. Is a very lonely thing to do. In fact, most of the time, being an entrepreneur is just downright crazy because you look at risk totally different. I want everybody to be aware of who you are. When people see fire, they run away. You guys are crazy enough to run through the fire to say like, hey, well, I think I see something on the other side. Let's go through it, right? And so the more you can connect yourself with other people that think that same way, the better it is for you. So, Rennie, my guy, I got you unmuted. How you doing?
Not bad. Pretty good. Just here on my W2 today. So, hey, just a real quick question. Does anybody have a lot of knowledge about the triple net properties and stuff. The reason I ask is because over the weekend I was looking on LoopNet and stuff, and then well, a broker called me up as I was eating lunch. I didn't even know, and he's like, "Hey, he left me a voice note because I didn't know who it was, and he just like, hey, we got on market, off market. Just give me a call. Let me know what you're looking for." And then so I went onto their site, and it looks like all their properties seem to be more commercial, like triple net kind of stuff.
Yeah.
Is that something that we're kind of staying away from right now, or?
No. So good question. So triple net lease, just for those who might not know, triple net lease is typically in the commercial space, but 9 times out of 10, you have it more in your retail companies, right? So it's when you have a property that's going to be leased out, and they call it triple net because the only thing that the owner is going to pay for, hey, Ms. Simmons, the only thing that the owner is going to pay for is the only thing that they're responsible for is the actual rent, like the mortgage, right? So you pay me the mortgage. Everything else, so electric, heat, the care of the property itself. So if the roof goes bad or something like that, all of that is on the responsibility of the tenant. So it's set up that way. Typically, those are really, really good deals. But it depends. Like, are you trying to get into that space? Because that's a different type of commercial, and some multifamily do not have that. Now, for example, Carlos absolutely loves properties, and so do I. I love properties that have a mix. So it's multifamily up top and maybe retail on the bottom that could be used into triple net leases, right? Like we were looking at one, we were underwriting. Ed, was that in Savannah? That was a Savannah one with Walgreens, I think.
The CVS, yeah, it was Savannah.
CVS, yeah, okay.
It was like a prime location.
Yeah, so that was one that we were underwriting maybe a couple of weeks ago for somebody. That was a scenario, right? They had properties up top, and on the bottom they had three different retail companies, but it wasn't triple net. This one actually there's only really triple net. They don't really call like if it's 2, they don't call it dual net or something like that, but that's what it was. It didn't cover all of it. It just covered 2. So that's how it was. So Rennie, I would say it just depends on what lane you want to play in. I saw somebody in the comments earlier mention this. So you really just have to like hone in on what you want to do or what you want to invest in. I think the biggest problem and also at the same time, the biggest joy in real estate is that you have so many different options of how you can make money. But that's also the biggest problem.
And I want to ask that real quick. One thing we learned just looking at that one property is how many different nuances you can have in a lease agreement that can either handcuff you for a long period of time or give you more upside if it's realized. For example, CVS is required to give X percentage of revenue after a certain dollar amount. They wouldn't allow you to build up because of XYZ reason. You couldn't use the basement under because that's their like space.
Yeah.
Like that's just scratching the surface. I'm sure there's so much stuff that Eddie and I could have found out if we had tried to stay in the deal, like take that next step, but we just decided not to because of those factors.
Yeah. You know what? I wonder, and you guys could comment in the chat for me. Let us know. Would you like for us to underwrite a triple net style lease, like something that has dual, right? Because obviously we want something that has apartments. But if you do, and Rennie, that might be a good one too. Like if you find something on the site that is set up that way, where it has some apartments and it also has some retail that could possibly be triple net, we can underwrite that tomorrow and kind of go through everything so you guys know what to be looking at and what it should look like and if it's a good deal or not. right?
Eddie, I think we can even do the one we're just talking about. One, because we're familiar with this, we know there's a few and because we know that, hey, there's upside, but how quickly can that upside be realized, and what's that going to be cost going to look like? It's really fascinating with commercial when it's mixed use, because you have the short-term return of rent, which we obviously are all familiar with. You come in, increase rent, improve the property, the units, and force additional income and add XYZ amenity. With commercial, that CVS lease was 15 or 20 years. You're stuck. There's nothing you can do.
Yeah, it's a whole different ball game. I mean, everybody's saying yes, they would. So that'd be dope. We'll pull that up tomorrow. And Randy, if you have anything that you find from your new broker friend, then bring that over as well, and we'll go through it tomorrow night.
Okay, I will, because now I learned something. I didn't know that you could make those, or you could find a way to make those triple net. I've seen some, and I just kind of pass over because I'm like, it's got retail on the bottom, forget it.
Well,
but
there you
now
go.
I know.
You see that? You see what would have happened if you didn't show up today? All right, everybody, we're done for the day. We want to thank everybody for showing up. Appreciate your time. No, Rennie, did we answer your question?
Yeah, you did, and gave me some more input too. So
good, perfect.
I also want to shout out Rennie because you've reached out and been definitely very active and like putting time at crazy hours. Like we've been on a Zoom where I'm like, how are you not asleep right now? Like I'm tired, and you're ahead of me in the time. So I'll commend you for your commitment because you're definitely doing it.
Another thing, Edward, I just called that guy again and left him yet another voicemail, man. It's like, dude, answer your phone, man.
Good.
I love that's the business.
So that's actually a really good segue that we can use. Looks like Peter got somebody. Peter, let me know if you got somebody, all right? But that's a good segue because what we want to do is before we take a look at the there it is. Before we take a look or listen to the call that we have, in addition to what we're going to do, I want to briefly kind of go over just the mindset that I want you guys to have when it comes to broker calls, right? So this is Zoom 8, which means we've been doing this now for at least 2 months. The market is continually changing, all right? And because of that, there's a few things you guys need to be made aware of when it comes to the mindset of the market and the broker. So the first thing is, and Rennie just said it, this is why I said this is really good, is your follow-up game needs to be at its best. When I say follow-up, I'm not talking about I called back and the guy or girl picked up the phone and now we're in business together. I mean, follow up for 17, 18, 26, 38, 68 different touches. And a touch could be email, text message, phone call, send something in the mail. Any one of those outreach attempts is considered a touch. You have to be able to understand that you are not the only person in this broker's world. And you also need to figure out, how am I going to stand out? How do I stand out from everybody else? So Ms. Simmons, when you're talking to a broker, how do I want to come across when they see my number, they want to answer the phone as opposed to letting it go to voicemail? There are not a lot of deals available right now in the market. They are coming, but the amount of deals that people are expecting to happen is slowly starting to progress. I think we got something live here. You got to unmute, bro.
Available? No, just went off today.
No, you're kidding.
Yeah, unfortunately.
Well, it's not unfortunate. That's a good thing, man. You're marching towards the closing, right?
Hey, it's a good thing for us. Good thing for us.
Excellent. Well, that's not necessarily a bad thing for you and me. You have any other multifamily assets you're marketing currently?
We've got, what areas are you looking at right now?
Well, honestly, Union City, I didn't even look it up. I just saw the pictures, and I figured, well, regardless of this one or not, I'd call you anyway. My guess is Union City's potentially a little too remote for me anyway. I'm definitely looking to be within an hour of, any major city in Tennessee. We're also looking in Kentucky. I don't know if you work in Kentucky at all.
Okay. Yeah, we've got a 20 unit in Louisville, Kentucky.
Okay.
That we've got listed. And then we've got a few off-market things. If you want to just shoot your email over to this number, this cell phone number.
Okay.
So you on our mailing list. So anything we get off-market or on-market will come your way.
Awesome. Can you give me any details on any of the off-market stuff you've got right now?
So we've got some stuff in Jackson. It's a portfolio. It's a mix of like duplexes. It's got a few quads and a couple single family. But he's willing to split up the portfolio. So
what's the total? What's the total door count on that?
I think it's about 70 units.
Okay. And what market is that again?
It's in Jackson.
Jackson.
Yeah, it's a really, really big and growing market. It's where global, the new $5.2 billion Ford campus is coming.
Yeah. In fact, my team, we're working on closing a $40 million deal in Lakeland.
Oh, nice. Awesome.
Yeah. So definitely a market we're interested in for sure. Do you know the 70 units? Do you know what kind of proximity, like what's the range geographically? Are they fairly close together?
Yeah, they're kind of spread across the city. I wouldn't say Jackson's not too big of a city, so it's
right.
not like the 23rd part, probably 10, 15 max away is the farthest. The second farthest would be about 15 minutes, I'd say.
Okay.
So.
Yeah. Do you have a sense of how long you've been working on that one?
That one is owned by a developer from Nashville. And he has a piece from born and raised the Jackson area, so he's just got a portfolio that he built up over time over there.
Okay.
So he's done majority of the renovation, if not all. He's going to have most of it complete by the time he does close. Whatever few properties so he's been doing it kind of weird. He's been selling them duplex by duplex recently. So that's why I'm kind of confused on exactly how many he's got available right now.
Okay.
But last time I checked, there was around 70, unless he sold some more. But he sent us some updated financials today, so I can shoot that over to you.
Okay, that sounds good. Do you know what's the story behind it? You know why he's selling these?
Yeah, he's just trying to get out of that market and move everything to Nashville. It's kind of, a little bit too far. It's 2 hours away, so been having to do a lot of traveling back and forth. So he's just trying to let that go. So.
Okay. All right. Sounds good. Do you know is there one manager? Does he manage it himself? Does he have any outside management currently?
I know he was using a property manager, but I don't think they were the best. So I don't know if he hired another one or if he's managing himself right now, but I can follow up and let you know.
Okay. That sounds good. And what's the whisper price on that portfolio?
That one's like around six million is what he's asking.
Okay. I won't dig into all the financials right now. I'll just send you my email address. You can forward that on to me, and then I can take a look at it and call you back about that.
That sounds good.
That sounds awesome. Are there any other off-market deals you're working on right now?
We've got a couple. One in Alamo. I can send you that, and then there is. Kind of think we had a couple, but they're going to be going on their contract probably next year, so they're under LOI. So, trying to think. I think that's all I can think of right now. We have some stuff in the pipeline for the next probably 3 to 4 weeks that should be coming in. So
okay.
Whatever we do that. Whatever we do have that comes up, we'll just shoot over it. I'll do that mailing list. So
okay, that sounds awesome. How long have you been doing this?
I've been in the, real estate world since I was born. My parents are in the hotel world, so
okay.
I've kind of been doing that forever. And then we have a single family portfolio. But I've been doing commercial brokerage full time about a year and a half, I'd say now.
Okay.
So
All right. Awesome. Kind of sounds like it's in your blood.
it is. Has been.
Awesome. Very good. Hey, listen, I appreciate you taking my call. I will shoot you my email address. I'll look forward to taking a look at that Jackson deal. That sounds like something that could be right up our alley. In fact, again, I love that market. So I'm looking forward to getting a look at that real quick. So we'll get that over to our underwriters and start digging into those numbers. So.
Sounds good, man. I appreciate you.
Awesome. Thank you very much. I'll send you that text here shortly.
Sounds good, man.
Thanks, Canal.
Do we even need to say anything, or I mean, at this point, how do you feel about that call?
You asking me?
Yeah.
Yeah, good. It's funny. So double dial, guys. I almost didn't call that guy. I called him last week, didn't answer. And I remembered that I had only called that number once. I made a note here that I'd left a message. And then I never followed. I didn't come back to this list, so I didn't follow up with that one during the week. I thought, well, I got to call him again today. I called him earlier in this call and there was no answer. And I thought, why am I only dialing? We talk about this all the time. We talk about double dialing and triple dialing. And I didn't do that. And sure enough, I called somebody else. They didn't answer. I said, I'm going to call Canal back real quick. And sure enough, he answered. And that's, I don't know. Sometimes I'm curious if anybody else has this experience. Sometimes you look at a OM, you just, whatever, you see some information about a broker and you judge them and you decide, well, I don't think they're going to be a very good broker for me anyway. It's like, I don't even know why, but it's anything to give yourself an excuse to say, well, I don't have to make that phone call.
Yeah.
Just call them.
Call them.
You never know. You never know what's going on in their life. You never know what's happening in the timing of their business. And this is all about timing.
Could I add something real quick?
Yep.
Do you want to know who the biggest liar in the entire world is? It is you.
Me.
Right. And I don't mean Peter himself. I mean like you, like me. I lie to myself every day. I'm in a battle with myself every single day. When I wake up in the morning and it's time to go to the gym and I tell myself, but it's really cold outside. Do you really need to go? Yes, I really do need to go, right? And what you're talking about, Peter, that's it. That is it, right? Like we second guess ourselves. I mean, don't get me started. The power of the words that we use is part of the reason why we fall to that trap, right? But I urge you all, like, I know some people not really big on like affirmations or things like that. Cool, no problem, to each his own. But I urge you, before you start making phone calls, say to yourself, like, what if it's possible? All right, like I know I don't have a lot of skills, right? Like Paula was saying, like, I know I'm not really there yet, but what if I found the right broker? Right? Like, start thinking in the opposite. That's one way to beat yourself from the lies that you tell to yourself, right? What if instead of saying like, man, this broker is probably not going to pick up, what if they do pick up if I call back, right? Peter's doing double dial. My team, we're on triple dials. I will call somebody back to back to back. Now, why? Because I want them to look at, because I think everybody's double dialing, right? So I triple dial, so they be like, this must be an emergency. And then when they pick up, I act as very nonchalant as possible. Like, this is my first time calling, right? I've never had someone make a big deal because I called them back 3 times in a row. But in my head, I was like, oh, they're gonna curse me out as soon as they pick up, right? But I've had one person who was somewhat angry, And they said, I thought it was an emergency. That's why you kept calling me back so many times. And I was like, it was. I really was trying to buy this deal from you. And that was it. It was done. It was like there was nothing else, right? So stop believing what you tell yourself when it's in regards to something negative, right? Because we're extremely powerful, right? Yo, look at this handsome. If you guys don't know this guy,
we got Rocky in the house. I know
come
you
on,
just
man.
saw that.
Unmute yourself. Come to the top real quick. Let's talk.
Hey.
What's
Talk
going
about
on,
mindset.
bro?
What's up, guys? How y'all doing? Thank you for having me here. It's an absolute pleasure.
Oh man, we're glad that you're here. I know you're on your phone, but for anybody who does not know, this part-time soccer player, part-time model, also does real estate. He's based out of here in Atlanta. He has an amazing investment company, so they do flips and single family and stuff like that. But he's also a beast in the multifamily space as well. So I would highly, highly recommend, especially if you're here in Georgia, definitely connect with this guy because he's amazing. He's an amazing human being. He's a great friend of mine and Peter's as well. It's definitely someone you want to connect with.
I truly appreciate it. That touches my heart, and I thank you so much for having me here. And I am always a learner, and I learn from you guys. So whatever I've accomplished, it's due to learning from you guys and taking notes and writing things down and connecting and growing my circle and further my growth.
Man, that's awesome, bro. That's awesome. Where you at a property now? You looking at? You about to buy? What are you doing?
I'm actually headed to Augusta on Wednesday, working on 24 units. Each unit is rented at $300 below market rent, and all leases are due very soon. So that's pretty good. I have 3 units that are vacant, so that's gonna give me enough room to get those and ask tenant if they want to move to the renovated one, of course, at market rent.
Yeah.
And then I'll renovate whatever that would be vacant and then just increase that. So in 1 year, after running my numbers and going over the T12, in 1 year, I'll be able to raise about $235,000 and $450 in 1 year.
There you go. That sounds beautiful, man. Definitely give us some updates on that, man. Are you going to go live when you go over there or no?
I would like to, unless they're tenants. I'm very respectful when it comes down to stuff like this. So yeah. I will probably go over the non-occupant one and the exterior as well. And I'm also subbing by Columbus since we evicted 3 tenants and non-paying tenant for 6 months. And we were able to turn those 3 units upside down, man. They all renovated in like 8 days only, and now they're going live.
Oh man, that's awesome. That's awesome, bro.
That's the magic math of multifamily.
Yes, sir.
If you guys want to be able to follow along with him, I'm gonna put his IG in the chat so you guys can take a look at this property. He's gonna walk on Wednesday. Around what time you think? Wednesday morning or no?
Probably it's gonna be around noon or afternoonish. I'll have my GT out there with me. I'll have to pick him out from Columbus and head out there, and we should be rock and rolling.
Okay, perfect. I put his IG in the chat, everybody. So if you want to follow and see that walkthrough and everything, I think that'd be pretty dope. Awesome.
Yep,
Thanks, bro.
you guys.
Appreciate you. All right, let's get cooking with grease. We wanted to jump into this call, but as I was saying quickly, like right now, here's the mindset that you should be having. Daryl, are you on the phone? I see Daryl on the phone. I see Mr. Castellito. All right. So one of the things that you guys need to be doing is this, and this is actionable item steps. I talked to my team this morning, and this is what we were discussing. Even though the market is not as fast and rampant as we would want it to be, which is perfectly fine, because it's the perfect time for you to do 2 things. 1, every single day, you should be reaching out to a new broker. Every single day. There's 365 days in a year. You take off the weekends, and I would expect you to talk to a new broker every single day. Now, part two is every single day or every other day, you should be following up with a broker. Now, here's what I want you guys to understand. When you are following up with a broker, don't follow up and every time you're talking to them, like, hey, do you have anything yet? Do you have anything yet? Do you have anything yet? That is the fastest way for you to end up on a block list, right? Because all you're saying is give me, give me, give me, give me, give me, right? What you need to be doing is, of course, always ask, hey, do you have anything? Boom, boom, boom. But then try to make your calls more towards what are you currently working on that I can help you with? Paul, if you called brokers and you're saying to them, hey, I know I'll just call them back up, making sure, you know, you and I are good and stuff like that. What are you currently working on that I can help you with? I'm very well connected. I have a lot of people in my network, and I may have something that could solve a problem that you have, or maybe a connection that I could make. I just want to figure out a way to serve you, because I know in the future you're gonna bring me my best deals, and I want to start paying you back now. What are they gonna say? No, right? If they don't have anything, they don't have something they need help with. But just the fact that you offer that makes you stand out above everybody else who's calling just to be asking for something. All right, so those are the two things you need to be doing, hands down. There's like no way if you're serious about doing this business, you have to be doing that. All right, we're gonna listen to this call. Let me know if you guys can hear this. Hold on. Can you guys hear that? Did you guys hear that sound? Yes? Okay, perfect. All right, here we go.
I'm sorry, say that again? I apologize. I hear you. Oh, yeah. Been looking to get to one of those at one point in time, just haven't done that. No, I understand, and hey, I appreciate it. So thank you. So it looks like, to your point, you had a good weekend, but a busy weekend, which is phenomenal. Okay, I was trying to look back at my notes from our last conversation that we had, and I may have overlooked some things here. Can you? Is there an HOA on this property?
There is about 500 per year.
Sorry, I want to see if that was the first call or second call. Okay. Okay, I think this is the first call.
It's great Sunday weather. Oh no, that's good. That's good. I'm glad you're able to do that and take my call at the same time.
Are you where?
I'm here in Atlanta.
Okay, nice.
Yeah, my number is just I kept it like everyone else typically does, from where they originated from, which is outside of Philadelphia.
Yeah, that's good. That's great. That's good.
Mm-hmm.
How can I help you?
Yeah, so I was obviously I sent you that text and wanted to learn a little bit more about the property, to kind of get an understanding of the condition, see if it's rented currently or if it's vacant.
Sorry, your voice is breaking. Could you repeat that?
Yes, I was wondering if your property was currently vacant or if it's actively rented today.
It's actively rented right now. It's been leased out for a while.
Okay.
It's leased out till March. That's when the tenant needs to renew.
Okay.
The same tenant lasts 3 years, so I don't know if they'll renew again.
Okay.
So yeah, I'm happy to keep it. It's a super good cash flow property. But if I got a great price, then I'd be willing to sell it. That's how I look at it. Otherwise, I have no issues hanging on to it.
Okay.
Yeah. So I've had it since 2013. I lived there a few years, and then I moved to the West Coast, and then I leased it out.
Oh, nice. What part of the West Coast?
California.
Oh man, Cali Multifamily's great. I came back from LA maybe about a month and a half ago.
Oh, nice, nice. So you were there during the heat wave?
Yes.
Nice.
Absolutely. So okay, no, that's fantastic. So I saw the pictures on Zillow, and
Hey,
those current in terms of like still
can you hear me?
hardwood floors.
That's the wrong call.
Yeah.
Say it again.
That's the wrong call.
You don't want us to listen to that one?
No.
So you want us to listen to the other one? The other one sounded like it was a conversation that already started. That's why I thought you wanted us to listen to the first one first.
That was a single family one that you were just listening to.
Okay, so this one, 1508 Evanston, is that the one?
Yeah, no, that's not it.
Okay, then I don't have the right one. Sorry, everybody. Could you resend me the one you want us to listen to?
Yeah, let me, I'm working on that. Sorry. I was on a W-2 call.
All right. Well, I mean, it sounded like it was a good call for a single family deal. I mean, I give you that feedback. I like how you was breaking down information. Chris was like, I thought it was weird when he was asking about the HOA. Me too. I was like, whatever, we're gonna let something do this. Awesome.
All right.
Awesome.
Yeah, let me try to send this right now and see if you can access the link to it.
Okay, perfect. And so what we're doing with Daryl, everybody, just so that you know, this is what we do with everybody, right? So if you have a call that you did during the times that we're not, typically together, making calls together, you can send a call into my email and we'll play it. And we can review it for you offline, or we can review it online together. Either way, we'll give you that feedback that you want.
I just sent it to you, so hopefully you should receive it. It's a Google Drive link to it.
Got it.
And then after the call, we host a roast battle.
Yeah,
absolutely.
So I hope it's good. All right, let's see. Okay, here we go.
Well, it's Peter roasting us, but that's it.
Is the sound okay, guys?
I can't hear anything.
Okay. Let's try this again. And share. All right, can you guys see my Gmail?
Yep.
Awesome, thank you. Share computer sound.
1-4 for Joe Crane.
Scroll to like the minute 38 mark. You should.
For Bruce Lister, press 1-7.
Yes.
Do you have a few minutes to talk about that by chance?
There you go.
Do.
Hey, all right, well, great. Excuse me. So I was looking kind of online at the flyer. I'm trying to do some quick napkin underwriting for our team here. And so what would you say is kind of like the particular upside for this opportunity?
So a couple things. One, there's upside in the rents. The average rents are below market. I'm going to say there is much.
I want to pause it real quick. Does anyone here have a question on what upside is? Because I thought that was a really good job that he did starting there, but I want to make sure we didn't lose anybody. So does anyone have a question about what upside is? Yep, Chris got it. It's value add. So it's really good. Okay, awesome. Let's do it.
As 20% below market.
Okay.
The second thing is the current owner has gone through about 55% of the apartments and has renovated them. Basically new kitchen cabinets, new paint, new flooring, new bathtub enclosure. And so I think as you go through them, I think there's an opportunity to get upside rents. I think the market where these are located, Trumbull County, which is kind of the northern part of the Mahoning Valley, there's been significant activity in Trumbull County. And that activity is stimulated on the west side of the county in a village called Lordstown.
Okay.
And Lordstown has has 3 really solid things working and a 4th kind of coming. And the 3 really solid things are electric vehicles. So Lordstown Motors and Fox. Are you familiar with the company named Foxconn?
I am not, unfortunately.
Foxconn is a global company, and their claim to fame is they build almost 100% of the iPhones and iPads that get sold by Apple.
Okay.
And so Foxconn has a division of electric vehicles called the Pair, and the Pair is a lower mid-level market vehicle. It's going to sell for a retail of $29,000. And so they're going to build that vehicle at an old General Motors facility, which is in Lordstown, Ohio. So that's piece number 1. Piece number 2 is General Motors, LG Chem have a joint venture a mile away from the Lordstown plant. And there they are building all of the EV batteries that GM, or not all, GM's got 3 electric or battery plants in the United States slated. This is one of 3. And that is a brand new facility. That facility goes online at the 4th quarter of this year.
Okay.
Another company by the name of Sumitomo, same thing. They're a Japanese company that is also going to produce batteries there. That shovel has been placed in the earth. I believe that is scheduled to go online 1st quarter 2024. And then a third company, and I cannot remember the name of them, same thing, battery, shovels in the ground, smaller company from Korea. And that's going on. And then from a logistics standpoint, TJ Maxx built a 1.5 million square foot distribution facility right on the turnpike, again in Lordstown. And so on the west side of the county, significant new business opportunity, which is stimulating the need for multifamily housing. And that's going to be the piece that really drives this. This apartment complex is probably 15 minutes from the heart of the Lordstown pieces we've just talked about.
Mm-hmm.
And that's the other upside to it, and the other benefit to it.
Awesome. Yeah. So it seems like a lot of job growth is coming to you. mentioned in the next 12,
right.
At least 18 months at the minimum.
Yep.
Okay.
So those are the upsides. The downside is 45% of the apartments still need improvement.
Mm-hmm.
The grounds are in good shape. Roofs are in good shape. Hallways are not in good shape. Hallways in the buildings would need to be redone. Buildings are watertight, those kind of things. But they still need improvement.
Gotcha. Okay. By chance, right? I know you mentioned kind of that 45% percentage. What has at least the current seller kind of budgeted for capex per unit, roughly, for those renovated up?
So it's roughly around $4,000.
Okay.
So cabinets, they're the 2 bedrooms are 700 feet. The 1 bedrooms are a little bit under 600 feet. So they're not huge. And so the flooring in that are not all that expensive. The paint's not all that expensive. Where I think most of that money's coming from is kitchen cabinets and bathroom.
They all have 1 bathroom?
All have 1 bathroom.
Okay. All right, perfect. And kind of got ahead of myself here, Don. I apologize. Is there a formal call to offer on this?
I'm sorry, say that again. The phone broke up.
A formal call to offer?
There is not yet. We've presented to him 3 offers, 3 lower offers. He's countered all 3, kind of near asking.
Okay.
And I think a reasonable offer gets a reasonable response.
Gotcha. All right. And so with that, is there any assumable debt here or no?
No, all paid for. No bank financing involved. I've had others ask about owner financing. I don't know that he wouldn't look at something with the right buyer, but he's been reluctant to do, an 80-20. I mean, I think it would take a little bit more money than that. kind of skin in the game, so to speak. And no mortgage on the property, no debt on the property.
Okay. So what's out of curiosity, what's causing him to sell?
So he is from South Africa.
Oh, nice.
His core business is cellular technology. Oh. And he is having to go back. The pandemic has kind of pushed him back to get back into running that business. He hired a chief executive that hasn't gone as he had hoped. And so he was in the United States. He's now splitting time between South Africa and here, and he has other real estate here, and all of that is for sale and being sold off. Okay,
so obviously there's other opportunities outside of this one potentially that he's looking to liquidate.
Yeah, no other multifamily, but some office and well, actually, there's another distressed multifamily that's under contract. Hopefully, going to close tomorrow.
Okay, all right. Well, no, that's awesome that he's kind of getting that taken care of and looking to get back to his core business. Okay. Yep. So, Don, another few questions here. Well, one, do you invest in multifamily or commercial properties yourself?
Do I? I do.
You said you do or you do not? I'm sorry.
I do. Yeah, I do.
Okay. Yeah, we're looking to expand our portfolio. We kind of focus on 40 units, and this is kind of 40 to 100, really. And this one kind of caught our eye, right? Kind of that sweet spot of 48. Excuse me. We participate within the Southeast, and so we're always looking for GPs where appropriate, right? Clearly the relationship has to be there, so that's why I wanted to kind of ask you that question.
Yeah, we are. So we're primarily a broker. I personally own commercial real estate. I believe, I believe what I tell people, and that is, there's tremendous upside in commercial real estate, as you know, and I think would agree. Mm-hmm. But we are first and foremost a brokerage, and we don't allow conflicts of interest in that. If we have something that might make some sense, we disclose that up front to potential sellers. My personal strategy for real estate, commercial real estate, is buy and hold.
Oh, excellent. Yeah.
And we tell people that up front. If I'm interested in something, I split it up. I own this brokerage, and I split up my own interests amongst my agents so that there's trying to avoid the improprieties that might go with those kind of things.
Okay. Yeah. No. That I appreciate you sharing that. That is vitally important within this space, right? Because it's not as big as people think it is. It's very relationship based. So that is key.
If you think you're competing with me, that's a really bad day.
Exactly.
And it's not more. We've walked away. I've walked away. I walked away from a 40 unit buy, really nice property a year ago. Mm-hmm. Because our seller, we had another agent in the office. I had put an offer. It was my business partner's listing, and he and I are partnered on some other real estate, and we weren't having much activity. And we went to the seller and said, "Hey, listen, we have interest in this thing. We're going to give you a fair offer," and walk down that path. And we made that phone call. We got another offer from an agent in our office and just said, "No, listen, we're going to rescind our offer and we're going to work this deal because we just think it's that important." You just can't. You just can't.
Exactly. Fully understand that, Don. Okay, well, hey, look, I know I've taken up way much of your time than I anticipated, but I appreciate the conversation. How is it that I'm able to kind of get some rent rolls and T12s to kind of do some quick?
Do me a favor and shoot me. This is my cell phone and I'm mobile right now. If you would shoot me a text to this number with an email address,
okay,
I will send you a 2022 to 2019 financial statement and a rent roll.
All right, no, fantastic. I appreciate it, Don. Thank you so much.
All right, sir.
Have a great rest of your day.
You too.
Bye.
Man, can't listen. We're gonna have to we're gonna have to start crowning people, right? So Daryl, your new name is now Daryl MF Griffin Simmons, and only if you're in here you understand why. That was a great call. There was so much. I only want to bring out one point, and Jen actually beat me to it. I think last week you were on a call, and I said you got to do better matching tones. Like everybody knows I'm a fun guy. I love having fun. I love laugh. When it's time for business, I'm like, look, this is what you need to do. Whether you like it or you cry about it has nothing to do with me. That's all you. I only want you to win. So I gave you straight to the point. You need to change your tone. Your tone did not match. And brother, you gave a master class on how to be able to connect. This guy never went above here, and you never went above their ear. Like, I was excited listening to the call because there was a lot of things he was saying. I was like, oh, that sounds good. You never showed any, I still don't know if you want this deal, right? And it was perfect for him because he sounds like he's not excited to sell a good deal either, right? So, dude, excellent, excellent job on that. Absolutely love how you handled that. That was great. That's the one take I would say from it. I definitely want to open it up to everybody. I know the chat is going crazy with some responses for you too. And I see you unmute. Take it away, my guy.
I got one. Daryl, great call. I loved it. One point I want to add as well. It's very easy to, you said it was 15 minutes. It's very easy that call could turn into an hour and you both would have lost your minds. You know, I like that you pulled away. Make them come back to you a little bit. Like, hey, this was a great talk. Because look, after 20 minutes, you're like, what the hell did we talk about? Where did the time go? You know, you lose your mind. You're like, that was a waste of time, and now you're pissed off. But you did a good job of like, hey, let's pull away. Let him come to us a little now. You know, like you made him want to talk to you. So I love that. Like you pulled out at the right time. You're like, hey, just send me what I need right now. I'm sure I'm gonna have more questions. Let's get back to that. And I love that you quickly, like almost out of nowhere, you kind of turned it on him to find out more about him. And then he told a personal story. And now you can relate to that. You can be like, hey, I know this about you, you know? And when you mention that next time, which I would try to throw that in there, they're gonna be like, one, you're listening, two, you took notes, and three, you're like, hey, I noticed this, and that's why I think I want to work with you because you're genuinely a good person. It's not even business anymore. You're a good person. Yep. One thing too, and if I want to nitpick, it's not actually nitpicking, but it's more like when anytime asking about CapEx and they say the per unit, ask them if that also includes exterior work. That's just something to keep in mind for the future because they may be like, oh, I'll change this about this unit, this. And he mentioned the hallway, right? Is that the right call? The hallway? Yeah. So then it's like, cool, does that include anything else? Or does that include the cost of the hallway? We don't know. Yeah. Obviously, that's so minor, like it's not the end of the world by any means. You had so much grade on the call. That's just one thing I would add on the CapEx side because it's very vague. And they don't, like, a broker's not going to know what you mean by CapEx, and you might not know what they mean. You can have two different definitions in regards to the scope of work. But other than that, like, phenomenal. I loved it. I actually want to watch this. Like, it's like a TV show. When's the next one? Like, yeah. I'm waiting for the next episode. Come on.
This was really good. Now, Daryl, how long have you been calling brokers?
Essentially, since you all started this Zoom, I think I've missed like the first two. So, you know, kudos to obviously the ecosystem that everyone's kind of plugging, right? So I just get on here, try to do what I can by catching some of these brokers, right? So thank you for all the feedback. I really do appreciate it, right? Kind of taking those notes. I'll rewatch this as well and kind of just get better at it.
That's really, really good, bro. Good stuff. That was good. Again, the chat's going crazy. Thought you did a tremendous job. And again, this is just putting it into practice, guys. Now, here's one thing. All right, I gave you your flowers. Now we're done with that shit. Let's get into it, right? So here we are. In the chat, you mentioned, first of all, did he send you the information?
Yeah, so he sent me the information. Actually, I spent time with Ed the following day. So last Tuesday. Right. So we underwrote it together. So shout out to Ed.
So I know, so you got the information, you went through the napkin underwriting, perfect. Okay, so now we're at Wednesday night, or well, let's call it Thursday. So let's say now you're at Thursday, all right? Because my question to you is, because I know Ed told you the next steps. Like, hey, here's what I see. Here's what the numbers are, boom, boom, boom. But in the chat, you've mentioned that it's been a week since you got back in touch with him.
Yeah, dude won't respond to his emails or answer his phone.
Okay, so it's him. It's not you.
Yeah, it's not me. It's not me. It's him.
Got it. All right. So, now here's the thing. Today's Monday. Last week was a big event in the multifamily space that a lot of brokers were at, and so that could be it, or it could not. I have a lady who has 100 units here in Atlanta. I done called everybody. I mean, I skipped traced her, found her mama, her sister. Nobody know where she at. Okay, we're a little bit worried, but the point is, you gotta try your best to reach out in any way, shape, or form. So if you're calling and it's via telephone and that's not working, maybe try other ways to be able to reach out to them, right? So that obviously you probably tried it, but it also includes text messaging, different phone numbers, emails, who he friends with as far as business, personal relationships. Who else? He said he has partners. So who else owns the company? Let's just call the office. Is there a secretary there? Right? However, I got to get in contact with you, fam. I'm reaching out. Right? So you want your send a pigeon if you have to. Pigeons are great.
Pigeons are great.
I saw something in the news the other day that I don't know if they were putting the pigeons in jail, but the pigeons were bringing in contraband into the prison. They were trained pigeons that had like things, and they were. So at that point, I'm like, what do you do? Do you arrest the pigeons or do you cook them? I don't know. But the point is, you got to figure a way to follow back up and do it in a systematic way so that it's just part of your follow-up routine, right? If you, and this is for everybody, guys, if you find a deal and now you're trying to get in contact with a broker and now everything else stops because your whole identity is based off of, I need to find this broker, you are going to be so sad because you essentially stop your momentum. There is nothing better than having an automatic follow-up set on your calendar to talk with this person. Today didn't work, okay, 3 days didn't work or whatever, but you're still talking and dealing with other people, right? There's nothing better than having 3-4 conversations and then out of the blue, the guy calls you back. Hey, Daryl, sorry, man, just getting a chance to get back to you. Oh, yeah, sure, no problem. We were looking at some other deals. And it gives you more confidence. Because like, yeah, we're looking at some other deals. It's okay. You guys still have that one? Oh, yeah. I promise you, when you start acting and giving off the energy that you're not the only one that I'm dating, multifamily is the only time that I say cheating is okay, right? Like, you're not the only one that I'm dating, broker, all right? You're going to have to keep bringing me flowers, buddy. I don't know what you think this is, all right? So that's how you should be going about it. And that's what I would recommend you do, right? Make sure he's on your follow-up, your drip. Have it set in your schedule. And like I said before, every day you should be talking to a new broker and you should be following up with 2, all right? The only other thing I would say is, to Ed's point, and he seems very stoic, so it's probably going to take a while to open up, but try to find some details and information about him. Based off of what Ed said, I think that's how I would go back in it too. Like, just say, hey, I really like you. I like what you stand for based off of what you said last time or whatever like that. But you're going to have to find a way to get on this guy's good side so he thinks of you special too, right? And that could take 2, 3, 4, 5 conversations. I don't know. But look for the opportunities for that to happen.
Will do. Thank you. I appreciate it.
I have 2 points. One is, for anyone that didn't hear yesterday's activator Zoom, a lot of what I just said and Eddy reiterated was taken from that.
And watch that.
Yeah, so it was it's the same thing. Same way we would do with investors. You want to do with these brokers. These brokers hold the key to the doors we want, literally. Yep. Another question, and I'm actually curious to hear everyone's thoughts on this. What are your thoughts, Eddy, on instead of sending them the LOI, saying, hey, I have an LOI ready to go, let's get on a call to discuss?
Yeah.
I'm curious to see how that feedback might work. We can maybe try that for a little bit, because then it kind of like, hey, I want to explain the LOI, which we can do. Everyone here can do that. And I can, whether you're underwriting with me, yourself, and someone else, we can do that, not a problem. And then that way you're incentivizing them to get on the phone because they don't know what the offer is. There you go. Aldo said it. So yeah, I'm down to try that a few times. Yeah, you're gonna have to get on more phone calls, but that's just more reps. So there's nothing wrong with that.
Yeah. Which is great. I mean, you want to know that stuff. Like, okay, now that I did the underwriting, what does the conversation even sound like when I call this person back, right? And then you have people that are with you that can help you go through that process. I highly, highly recommend that. And again, there's other people in here too, right? That can be able to do that. I see some people in the chat talking about that. That's why we have this, right? This is what the ecosystem is about. You know, I really don't know how else to say it. Like, if you show up, it happens really fast. Like, Daryl, you were doing single family before this?
I still am technically, but putting more emphasis on the multifamily side because that's exactly just where I want to be. So,
okay, so this guy has less than 2 months worth of multifamily broker conversation, and I promise you, if I were to call this broker back and say, did you know that Daryl is completely brand new? He would assume he's talking about I'm talking about another Daryl, right? So don't let the fact that you're new stop you or infiltrate you guys. Look, it is a Monday afternoon and we're way beyond our time, so we'll stop it here. But it's a Monday afternoon and you are dedicated on a Zoom call learning how to get better at this. You deserve this. You are putting in the work. Do not let that lying sack of whatever that is inside of you lying to you about how great you truly are. Each and every one of you are special human beings. And I know that for a fact because you wouldn't be here if you wasn't. Right? So definitely do that. And like my guy Peter said, pro tip, use pigeons. All right. With that being said, Peter, outside of that pro tip, do you have anything you want to add before we dip? Aldo, I love that hat, bro. You might have next time I see you, you might have to come up off that one. What does it say? I'll mute real quick.
The dude's driving, man. You're gonna kill him.
No, he's at a red light. He's at a red light.
Yeah. I'm over here guessing. It says stoic.
Stoic.
Of course it says stoic, Aldo. All right, man. I'm gonna put you back on mute, bro. Put you back on mute. All right, Peter, what you got for us, man?
You know, just a huge shout out to the 35 people that are on here. Massive technical problems, and we still ended up with almost 40 people. It just blows me away. Thanks for coming back. Invite some people. If you got value out of that call, that I know it was 15 minutes. There was so much great that you did there, Daryl. And you got him talking and you let him talk. That was awesome.
Yeah.
Put some fires in the chat if you got value out of that. I look forward to seeing you guys come back with us next week. Do your broker calls this week. Come back with some wins. Tell us how this is helping you. That's why we're here, guys. We're here to help you. So we appreciate you being here and look forward to seeing you next week.
All right. Let's do it, everybody. Oh, one last thing, if you can, before we go, like we always do at this time, if you can turn your cameras on.
There you go.
Let's take our picture.
Cameras on, phones up.
Cameras on, phones up.
Get your phone up there, Eddy Charger.
Get a snap and leave my phone up. All right, here we go. On 3, 1, 2, 3. Awesome. Thank you, everybody. Peace.
Peace,
I'm
guys.
gonna trademark this and charge you guys.